Well, happy whatever day this is that you're joining us. This is Richard Rosen, Winnipeg's friendliest undertaker, and my recording engineer, George, who's joining us here today. And the purpose of all of our interviews has been to share knowledge on a wide variety of topics. So if you've been watching our interviews over the last number of years, you'll know that we've been covering a wide variety of various funeral topics, including green burials, the importance of managing and protecting your digital assets. And recently we've launched this new segment on successfully aging in place. Now that I'm into my 50s, later 50s, the topic of aging in place has really become a new part of my life. And I really need to be aware of and to learn how to successfully live and safely live so I can continue to enjoy the best quality of life that I possibly can. Helping with that success really became part of my journey. And what I did was became an early member of businesses and organizations supporting seniors, people working in the aging in place community, helping to create and maintain the best quality of life possible for older adults. So if you're looking for a good audiologist, a financial planner, additional home care, a pharmacist, or a lawyer, to name a few, you can go to my website where you'll find a page dedicated exclusively to BOSS, and it has a list of the members that are there and links to all of them. And you can also take a look at the BOSS Facebook page. Speaking of lawyers, we welcome today Andrew Torbiak with Tradition Law LLP Estates and Trusts here in Winnipeg. While his practice is estate law, he focuses on estate planning and provides consultation to clients related to committeeship and attorneyship issues, as well as estate beneficiaries. Andrew was called to the Manitoba Bar in 2016 and now gives back to law education as a sessional instructor, coaching third-year law students at the Canadian National Negotiation Competition. Andrew contributes to the Winnipeg community by sitting on the St. James Assiniboia 55 Plus Center Board. And he's volunteered since 2016 as a presenter through Senior Care Without Walls, a senior engagement resource offered by A&O Support Services for Older Adults. And additionally, and finally, Andrew, like us, are a proud member of businesses and organizations supporting seniors. Andrew, thank you for joining us today, and looking forward to a good conversation about things that we need to know about our estates and those plans.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Richard.
Can you give us a bit of an insight from your point of view, the things that folks should think about when they're creating their will to consider digital assets as well?
Absolutely. A great point. And there's been a big groundswell, I'd say, in the last 5, maybe even longer, last 5 years or so, estate planners turning their attention to things like this, because otherwise, accounts get missed, or accounts get left open, or pictures and meaningful digital assets go by the wayside. So yeah, the handling of digital assets is very much at the forefront these days. I mean, you have the rise of literal digital assets like cryptocurrency, worth potentially thousands, maybe millions of dollars. And then on the other hand, you have just personal accounts and data that will live on forever unless they're handled. And as you're introducing that, you said the right thing, which is sort of guiding or putting a roadmap out there for somebody who might be handling your estate. I could not tell you how many accounts I have open on the internet with my email and password. I have no idea. But I happen also, I have online investing. I have photographs. I bank online, so there's an access key to get into that account. So one way to handle it is just good old-fashioned pen and paper. There's sometimes you can't beat that because, as we know, a will, at least in Manitoba, most other provinces, but one, I believe, does still require hard copy and a wet ink signature. So there's going to be a piece of paper that is going to give power to somebody to handle your affairs. So there might as well be another piece of paper to say, here's what I have and here's how you access it. Tell you a funny story. Naturally, when I became a lawyer and also an estate lawyer, my folks said, okay, you know, someday you'll be our executor. Fine, of course. Periodically, my dad will send me a piece of mail, like snail mail. He'll write out any updated passwords or accounts and he'll mail it to me because he doesn't want to email that to me. And the first time I got it, I thought, geez, you know, he's in great shape. He's early 60s. Like, why are you emailing me? Why are you mailing me this information? You're kind of scaring me a little bit. And I called him and I said, you know, what are you not telling me? And we had a laugh in the end. He says, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. I just wanted you to have that just in case. And so now he'll send me the updated list. And at the end, he'll say, P.S. I am okay. Or I am, you know, I'm healthy or something like that. So that's an aside. But I thought, I can't necessarily think of a better way to handle it than just write it all down, leave a roadmap for your executor. I have a Facebook account. Here's the password. I have an Instagram account. Here's the password. Here's how you take those photos off, because there is no photo album that we'll be flipping through. You know, at least my generation, when we're in our 70s and 80s, looking back, we'll be scrolling through all of our photos in our 20s and 30s, reminiscing. Those things have value, not monetary value like investments, but perhaps greater value when you consider the video and photo catalog that we are all going to have of our lives that the previous generation wouldn't have had nearly as much of. And then you consider from, say, a fraud perspective, internet fraud or digital fraud, whatever you want to refer to it as, is of course at an all-time high because internet activity and accounts and everything else are at an all-time high for usage. So you need that credit card account to be closed. You need those accounts that your banking is linked to be closed so that your identity doesn't live on and cause problems well after you're gone. Yeah, digital assets. It's sort of the new frontier, really, of estate planning. It almost sounds outdated to even say that because this is the life we've been living for, gosh, I don't know, a decade maybe. But things move slowly in the law.
And that's the part that I've been to a number of international events where Facebook and Google were at the table, and they're working at international levels and discussing legislative changes across the country and across the planet, really, for various jurisdictions to understand, because some of the laws that were written in the 60s and 70s, because you know they were still dealing with other issues. Well, now this has become a big thing, and there is a lot of good things going on. I know Apple announced in 2021 a legacy part for their cloud services, so that for example, if I was if you had assigned me a legal role in your life, that you could assign me as a third party person to have access to your iCloud account and iTunes and things, so that I'd have my own username and password. But when the time came that it was time for me to take over your or to have access, and not necessarily because you died, it could be because you're no longer capable, and that's a whole other issue. At least Apple and some others have realized that this is important, that we have to give access. And because people, their clients have now complained and said, look, we're having issue with this.
Very interesting. Another example I'm aware Microsoft's current policy anyway. So let's say you have a Microsoft Outlook email. You run your business's email through Outlook, and therefore your information is all stored, I guess, archived somewhere in a Microsoft server. Currently, Microsoft, their jurisdiction, I suppose you could say, is either California or New York or Maryland or Delaware, or something like that. So that means if a lady or man passes away in Manitoba, and if any kind of legal dispute arises out of their estate, like say a will is being challenged or something like that, and those emails become pertinent, you cannot access those emails, even if you are the executor, at least right now, without a court order. So they say, you can't make us, we're taking the position that that's private, or whatever, you know, the reason for the position is. However, if you get a judge to order that you can have access to this data, then we'll cough it up, but only then. And that's quite a trick. So I need a Manitoba judge to make an order. I need to be able to translate, essentially, or I don't know, shuttle that order into the jurisdiction that I'm trying to reach. Let's say it's California. Hopefully California is a state that recognizes a Manitoba court order, though they don't all. In interjurisdictional, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the right term, but anyway. So when you think of something as easy that we all do and take for granted of, which is logging into our email account, and you can go through years and years of email history, potentially. As soon as somebody passes away, the rules change, the landscape completely shifts. And I'm thinking of how many emails I got today, and whether or not any of them might be important in 4 years, and likely not. You take for granted the true impact and potential value of your digital assets, just simple emails that you made 4 years ago to your lawyer arranging for a will meeting.
That's true. And you know, the other thing that none of us do is read the terms and conditions.
That's exactly it.
You know, and that's where you're finding that, you know, giving someone else your username and password can violate the terms and conditions, which means that the company, the custodian, has the legal right to block any access beyond that. So pictures, you mentioned, you know, we all have pictures. There's a few application companies out there that it says in the terms and conditions that they own the rights to the changed picture. You own the original, but they own the rights to the fixed picture should something happen where it's no longer, you do not have access, and that cannot be distributed to anyone else. So you know, we don't do that. We don't read that stuff. We just and because we're always in a hurry, right? We just kind of click through. Yeah. And yeah, those are big challenges. But as I said earlier, that, you know, the bigger players are coming to the table. They are, and they're trying to reciprocate jurisdictional continuity, so that a Manitoba court could communicate in a good reciprocating way to other jurisdictions in other states. So it is coming. It's slow, but it is changing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. We're really grateful for your insights and sharing all of your knowledge with us here today. And to our audience, we're grateful for the time that you've invested with us here, and hope that we've offered some new insights into the area of aging in place that might have been new to you. And if you like this interview, please hit the thumbs up button on the YouTube page, and also don't forget to subscribe. This is Richard Rosen, Winnipeg's friendliest undertaker, signing off. Keep safe and keep smiling.